half Italian. My other half is German. People getting nervous. Oh, shit. It's kind of the proper reaction, too, because that makes me 2/3 the axis of evil. If I was to date a Japanese person, all my Jewish friends would be like, what are you planning? We've seen this before. No, but with like St. Patty's Day going on, who's Irish here? A lot of Irish. This is great. You guys get to have, like the Italians, you get to have a lot of pride. You get to be really into it, you know, which is great. Germans, a little tougher to have German pride. But think about it. A bunch of Irishmen get together at the bar, you get a little too drunk. Worst that happens, you punch your brother. What happens when too many Germans get together? They invade Poland. I think the UN is still watching Oktoberfest just to be safe.
It's a constant wreck. I don't know what he thinks about what he's doing with his life. I feel like we should get an intervention going or something.
Nah, just watch the burn. Enjoy the fireworks.
It's always better. Didn't you have a good roast?
Yes.
Thing?
Basically, Matt, I think, is the world's angriest hippie.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the modern Charles Manson, except without the jokes, charisma, or sex appeal.
That feels about right. that feels about right with him. It's awful. He should go to comedy school.
Right after he graduates from the School of Hard Knocks.
Sure, yeah. The sister school of keeping it real. I don't know. Welcome to What Am Comedy, where comedians discuss comedy with other comics who perform comedy live right here in the Connecticut comedy scene. Yeah, no, Matt was right. This does need to be shorter. Anyways, I'm joined by Pete Angelo. He's a bisexual biker.
No, not a biker.
Oh.
Everyone just thinks I am a metalhead.
Oh, metalhead. Okay.
Also a comedian.
Well, bisexual comedian.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that? Are we still?
Is that my new headline?
That should be.
There's be a comedian. Just talks about weird things.
So, Matt's not here. He just bailed on us. And I am normally directing, so I decided, yeah, I gotta come do this. So.
Sorry.
No.
I gotta come talk to you.
It's true misery. Although, you know what, not having him around is nice.
Things get done.
So.
You can speak like faster. You don't gotta slow things down for him.
Yeah. You have to wait, hold on. What did you want from Burger King? So, Pete, I got a couple questions for you to start with, and then we're gonna start just randomly shooting.
Sounds good.
All right. And how'd you get your start?
I actually started off as like the doorman for like some local comedy shows. I would, a local comic promoter that I knew from just going to shows, his door guy's always kind of, messed up or stole from whatever. And I was always around, and I was a big, scary looking dude. So I would just go to the shows, and I would collect the money at the beginning, check people's IDs, all that stuff. And then after like doing that for a year or two, or for however long it was, and him and other comics always telling me, oh, you should do it. He put me on a flyer so I couldn't back out again.
No. He trapped you.
Pretty much. And so I went and I did it, and it was great. The only problem is, usually whenever the first time doing stand-up comedy is great, you're always kind of chasing that, what they call chasing that high, chasing the laugh. It almost never feels like it's as good, but you're always trying to get it.
So you're trying to tell me I shouldn't do it again?
How good was the first time?
You were there, I don't know. I'm not a good judge of my own work. Rated on an okay. The only people who were left other than you comedians talking in the entire room
that's a bad group to be doing it or something.
Yeah. Were this like older woman and her couple. I don't want to say older, they're probably like late 50s, early 60s. She agreed with me on a lot of my weird.
You get the nice like head nod.
Yeah.
That's always the best. You always get you get people who aren't laughing necessarily, but they're smiling and just nodding, and you're just like, Make a noise.
Yeah. She did laugh at the joke I tell about how I think fur coats are like way too brutal for like rich white people. But
Metalheads should be wearing
I
it.
know, right? Like Ren
Death metal
fairs.
bands coming out in full
Yeah,
fur.
you go to like a Game of Thrones con or something like that. Sure. So what's your favorite part of doing stand up?
I mean, I know it's kind of cliche, but the reaction, just like getting that laugh is like great. But I also do like meeting other comics, learning from them, you know, the environment. Like, because comedy is interesting. You know, everyone knows of stand-up comedy, but they don't really. A lot of people don't think about like what it is behind the scenes when it's just like, oh, this show's over and it's just 5 comics at 1 o'clock in the morning, just having the best time because we're just talking about whatever because everyone's brains are still firing on what we saw and what people said. So just like, I really enjoy like the environment of comedy and being around other comics and things like that. It's been like some of the, you know, the best times I've had. Just 5 of us at a diner after a show, wondering what happened to life.
And during those best times, what was your least favorite part?
Probably when probably being yelled at by an audience to be electrocuted.
Wow. We'll go into that in a little bit. First, I do want to ask real quick, are you working on anything right now?
No, just, you know, new bits, anything I can, just, that's about it, you know.
Any inspiration for those new bits?
Not really, because all my stuff is usually just, honestly, some comics sit down and write, when they watch stuff, I'm just going along and something hits me. Like, a good-looking guy working the drive-thru at McDonald's upset me because he's attractive. So I was like, why is he working the drive-thru at McDonald's and giving me terrible food? I was like, gross people like myself should be working the drive-thru, not that guy. Now I feel even worse about eating this.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That makes way too much
Yeah.
sense.
So I was like, why? Why do you work here? You look like that.
So you think
So
Calvin?
McDonald's, no more models working your drive-thrus.
No, it's off-putting.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. It would.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's someone
like-
who's in shape and works out, eating salad, being like, "Here's your milkshake and McDouble at 10:30 at night as a snack."
That's like when you go, you know, when you watch those McDonald's commercials and they've got all the attractive young people working in the McDonald's together, and it's like this clean place, and you're like, yeah,
That doesn't
right.
exist.
Where? Show me a unicorn first, and I'll believe it.
They just take one and just throw them in each one of McDonald's to make fat people feel bad about themselves.
That's exactly what they do.
Like, that's not how you're gonna meet someone. All that, like, that old idea of, you know, you're at a restaurant and like people like write their phone number with the tip. I'm not like walking into McDonald's and giving them an old McDouble wrapper with my phone number. Call me.
Man, that's the sexiest thing I've ever heard.
You want to split this? No, it's mine.
So I want you to plug your social media because that's what you do.
Yeah,
on
pretty
shows.
much. My Twitter is PeterAngelo13. You can also usually find it under Metal Pete. My Instagram is MetalPete13. I like metal, people. And my Facebook is Peter Angelo.
There you go.
And you'll learn about any upcoming shows or what music I happen to be listening to. It's usually metal or hardcore or punk or something that people get upset to me about that I'm still listening to at nearly 30 years old.
We need to have a discussion about punk because I
Yeah.
love punk. Well, yeah. So yeah, we should talk about that after.
I'm
the show.
always down to talk
I don't
about
think we
stuff.
have time right now.
No, because I'll just ramble on forever about it.
So we're gonna move into just some open mic stories. How have your most recent open mics been?
Most recently, not bad. I was at one up in Northampton that went really well, and which confuses me. Anytime more than 3 open mics go well, I question all of reality. I'm like, this is the Matrix. This is not supposed to be going well, because it's just like it's a common joke that open mics are just terrible things, and they're there to just crush your dreams. because you're just talking to either bar patrons who don't want to hear you or other comics who have heard you 1,000 times and don't care. So like anytime they go well, because you maybe go to a new one in a new area, you're trying new stuff that's working, I'm like, nope. And then I go to another one and it's terrible and I get no response. I'm like, that's better. That's the way, the world is all right. That's the way it should be. No one's laughing at me anymore.
Do you prefer abuse from the audience in terms
I
of
don't know.
silence?
I guess I just feel like anytime it's doing good, and it ends. I actually went to one on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah, I left my Thanksgiving dinner with my family, picked up another comedian, drove to Groton from New Haven, and did one of the worst open mics I've ever been to. Because it was just us talking to 4 guys playing pool.
This Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I needed Tums.
I would imagine that the only people at a open mic or a bar where one's going to be are very lonely people. If it's Thanksgiving.
5 sad comedians and the loneliest bar patron. One guy kept yelling about the unknown comic, and I don't know if he wanted us to just wear paper bags, but yeah, it was not a fun group of people. I did get one guy who was playing pool to stop and listen to me and kind of go,
I bet you wish you captured that.
Kind of. I was like, I'm gonna bring you everywhere, dude.
Yeah, it's part of my reel. I'm just gonna put it on. I would.
I still think one of the best and worst things that happened at an open mic, and it actually I was able to turn it into a bit, was I was doing a joke or working on this bit about a lady being arrested for blowing up a Target bathroom, and it turns out she was cooking meth
in
the bathroom and exploded, whatever. But I said that, and a guy at the back of the bar just looked at me and didn't hear what I was talking about. He just heard the word meth and looked at me and went, "You're too fat to be on meth." And I was like, well, that's my Tinder profile now.
There you go. Yeah.
It's what a weird compliment. It's hey, you don't look like you're on meth, but God, you're fat.
Yeah, I mean, now instead of bisexual metalhead, too fat to be on meth. Is there any other new material that you're kind of working on with that?
Just the stuff that I've been lately. The new everything about being bisexual and that stuff has kind of been just the new stuff in general. Mm-hmm. That's been a more recent thing, and it's been going really well because people look at me and they're like, "That doesn't make sense." The whole opening act is that people look at someone and they immediately have a perception of them. They think of okay, that person is probably this. With me, they're metalhead, into Satanism. The last one I think on their mind is dudes. Maybe he got out of prison. That's what they would think. But hey, they're half right. So all that stuff, because it's been new and just being about how I'm frightening to people, which it makes it tough to meet people, but I try to be very outgoing and social, which you kind of have to be in comedy, but I look like a billboard that screams, "Stay away from me."
I didn't say it.
Yeah. I've been described, a friend once described me as a teddy bear holding a sword, because you want to give it a hug, but you really don't either.
Hey man, you could give the teddy bear a hug and then you could take the sword. And then you have a hug and a sword.
I'm also planning on getting that as a tattoo.
Yes.
But it's going to be a teddy bear that's been stitched together and all messed up, wearing a Viking helmet, holding a sword.
Okay.
Because I just have to tattoo dumb things onto my body.
There was a video game like that a while back.
No,
a homicidal teddy bear. I can't remember what it was, but I think it turned out pretty bad.
Yeah. That's not killing it in the market. Shocker.
And so you did give me some interesting stand-up already, some open mic stories. I would like to know, if you haven't told me already, what is your most interesting open mic experience?
I mean, that'd be just open mic, or can it be just shows?
Shows, period. No, yeah.
I would probably one of the more interesting ones to me was I was doing a show called where basically the audience decides whether or not you get money or a dominatrix tortures you.
Oh.
So you do your bit, you do your set, and then the judge asks the crowd, paid, and everyone cheers, or pain, and everyone cheers. For me, it was like dead even. It was like paid and pain was like dead even. And so he's like, hey, you can't vote for both. You got to choose one. He's like, paid, dead silence. Pain, crowd roars.
Oh my God.
And I had actually made a deal with the dominatrix beforehand. I said, if I have to get pain, I want the most painful one you have.
Oh.
And she was like, I was like, what is the most painful thing you have? And she goes, it seems to be the electroshock. Is the most painful one.
Like the cattle prod?
It's sort of like that. It's like they called it like the wand or something like that, where she holds this one thing and it's a piece of metal like that, and like and she just kind of like touches it to you, and it zaps you.
Oh God.
And I've seen it done with people, and they were like, ah, and like they screamed. And I was like, I want the most painful one. So when they said pain, and she's out there, she has these stack of cards, and you have to pull one. That's your punishment. So she made sure to be like tapping the electrocution one, so I knew which one to grab. So I grabbed it, and the host was like, electroshock, and I was like, woo! And I just threw off my shirt, and they just started zapping me, and I was like, because if I'm gonna get zapped and do that, and like the kind of like quote unquote humiliation of it, I'm gonna enjoy it and play it up and put on a show about it.
Of course.
So she's just zapping me. I can smell my chest hairs burning off me. I turned around and someone yelled, "Shave his back!" One of the guest the guest judges who kind of like critique you afterwards, he grabbed my arm to see if he could feel the shock.
Oh God.
So he grabbed my arm and then he touched the other guy and he felt it through us. Like we were like a fat connector for the skinny guy. And so that was probably one of the most interesting things, is like being electrocuted shirtless in front of about 150 people. Who all asked for it.
And I'm just curious, like, what town was this in?
It was at the casino.
Okay. So I gotta head over there for that.
Yeah.
I want to see that stuff, man.
Oh, they do it. They do it constantly. They're like, it's a blast, especially when stuff happens to people. It's great. Sometimes they pour hot candle wax on people, but that's a Tuesday for me. So
you're just sitting in your bedroom pouring candle wax on yourself.
It's nothing. I get tattoos. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
same thing.
They're impressive.
Probably most of the I find the most interesting stories somehow end with me taking my shirt off. It's happened multiple times. I gotta stop doing it.
Hey man, you got the tats. You gotta show them off.
I guess. Yeah. Well, like one time a lady was mad about it. Another time, 10 hot chicks in the audience were like cheering for it. I was so confused. It was in Florida though, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, it's Florida.
I was on tour and it was great. It was weird, and that was confusing, especially afterwards when I was done. I was kind of just hanging out with my buddy at the bar. One of the girls like walks by me and just goes, "Eh," like in a really like weird dude way. Like I was like, that's not good.
You're not selling
I
yourself.
was like,
Well, those are definitely some of the more entertaining open mic stories I've ever heard. But we are going to be back soon with the tub, the titillating topic. Tub.
Am I electrocuted?
Maybe.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow.
We got this segment that we like to do. I had a better intro last time with the other guys, but I'm not creative today.
You couldn't just do the same one again?
Well, I mean, they sang it.
Oh, well, they were in bands. I just look like I should be in a band. And if I was in a band, I'd just be yelling things.
I mean this is a compliment. You look like you should be a roadie.
That too.
So we are going to start the titillating topic tub, where our talented guests pick a topic from the tub that is also titillating, and the topics are titillating as well as the tub. There's something going on with it.
What does titillating mean?
Titillating is like interesting, stimulating.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Stimulating topic tug is a whole different show.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You. But I pay a subscription on the internet for that one. All right.
Pretty soon it'll be double.
So pick a topic. Good on you.
Evolution of comedy.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically you kind of choose a style of comedy or comedy in general, and just we talk about its evolution, how it got here.
So just like a type of stand up, like a type of it, or just like stand up in general, or like slapstick.
Oh, it could be any type. I guess performance comedy, any type really, other than like movies.
Yeah.
So any time of live comedy is good.
I always thought that like, especially with stand up, you could always kind of how it's changed over the year. Like, wow, started, it was like this cute, it was one-liner things and stuff like that, stuff that just like, that your grandfather could tell you, just like quick things. And then at some point when like society started kind of noted, like when protesting and things like that started happening and people started getting away from what was considered the norm, that's when I feel like comedy really started to take its like first steps into where it is now, with when Lenny Bruce started breaking out and saying things that you shouldn't say. Like people he got arrested just for saying and cursing and things like that because you weren't supposed to. Like you're supposed to have everything supposed to be squeaky clean. So it started like, changing comedy so much and like, oh, okay, it can start being, on the outskirts of society and, then obviously Carlin changing how he himself went from, like hippy dippy weatherman, squeaky clean stuff to being like the most politically driven comic of the, probably ever.
Kind of want to throw in Richard Pryor there,
and then
too.
Pryor as well. I think Pryor, Pryor and Carlin are always considered like the best two comics of all time.
Yeah.
And Pryor, especially during the 70s and the culture changing and everything, was such a prominent figure. And then from them, because even guys like Dangerfield like still existed and things like that, where it still had that older style of just like kind of quick one-liners, one-liners like but he still had a different way of doing it. And then 80s, everything blew up. Everything got like everyone beat it. But there were so many different type of comedians coming out from every different walk of life.
Like HBO.
Yeah,
Since they started doing specials.
It was even crazy too, but you have so many. Well, I felt like it was like one singular path where it like kind of changed from like, all right, squeaky clean, social commentary. Then it like at some point just exploded and branched out to like everything. Like you have like a Jeff Foxworthy type, and then you have Bill Hicks. You have
I'm gonna give Mitch Hedberg as one of those because he's out of nowhere.
Well, exactly like Hedberg, even though it was like this, it was a one-liner, so it's almost like kind of it harkened back to like old style, but it was so like
his delivery
crazy and different and drug fueled.
Yeah,
but like I think that's part of the beauty of comedy is there's so many different ways to do it. Do you want to do one line? Do you want to do jokes and craft these weird ideas, or do you like telling stories? Are your stories long formed and things like that? Or do you see what's going on in the world and want to, attack it constantly? Like Lewis Black is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love Lewis Black.
And most of his career has been what's going on in the world and talking about it. And not a ton, he ties himself into it a little bit, but
kicks his anger up to 100.
Oh, he's great as the fingers.
Oh yeah.
And but like that, there's just so many. Even just like with what's going on with like John Oliver's show. It's like crazy how like people can get their information like through comedy. Like you can laugh, but be like, oh, that's a good point, which is cool. But you can also then listen to comedy and not have to think about a single thing going on in the world. Like regardless, it doesn't have to be political. It could be like, oh, this guy tells funny stories about his family. Yeah. Or like this guy's really Italian. He just talks about how Italian his family is for an hour and a half. People freaking love it.
Yeah. Not to beat, poor Mitch Hedberg, but not to beat him over the head with a stick again. I just like he's definitely my like go-to when I don't want to be reminded that the rest of the world sucks sometimes. Absolutely. Yeah, because there's nothing to do with anything there. The most stupid observational one-liners.
His were just weird thoughts that are just like absolutely bizarre, but they're so funny, and they're like he just kind of like believes in them, and and that's what's great. I always try to think of like who are kind of his contemporaries, but like there are very few comics that do that. I feel, especially anymore, because it seems like, especially in today's world now, a lot of people are trying to get on that whole like social commentary, edgy jokes and stuff like that. which can be, and that's the evolution comedy kind of going awry a little bit too, when everyone tries to, hit that same mark over and over.
It's so easy right now. I think that's one of the biggest
Well, yeah,
things.
when your president is tweeting you punchlines.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we're talking about Matt Farrell again. I actually like that joke, yes. I'll let him tell you.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll throw the joke in right over it, so nobody has to pay to see him.
Good call.
Yep.
See Matt Farrell for free. And but yeah, so, and anytime I try to do something that's like a little bit political or anything like that, I kind of make a twist on it. Like, it's not really about the thing that people think it's about. Like like a lot of times I'll start my show and I have with like one political joke that I say I'm not very political. I'm not smart. I only figured out what a POTUS was like a year ago. And SCOTUS I thought was something below the waist. And, and it's just how I don't like people calling the president the devil. I'm like, that's offensive to me.
Yeah.
Because I love the devil. And I don't want Trump ruining his work.
No.
No, so there's stuff like that. And like usually, every time I do that joke, I look into the audience and like find the oldest people there, and I'm like, they're gonna hate this. And I say it and I laugh, and it confuses me to this day when people like that joke. I thought that's one like that's for me.
Yeah.
But people seem to like that one. I didn't do it in the South though.
No, you can't. No, you got to really watch yourself there.
But so I like storytelling comedy, things from your life. I feel like people can connect with it. Not everyone is fired up about politics and stuff like that. Sure, if you can make it an interesting way, but so many people are trying to do that. I like the storytelling. I like people talking about their families. If you can find different ways to do it, great. But that, again, I think that's the evolution of comedy, is our point that there is so many avenues to do it. There's just so many different ways. It started with anything. Started one way, and it slowly evolved from just weird little things happening. Like when one of the times Lenny Bruce was arrested, there was a kid in the audience that was also arrested for just like being there, and he wouldn't tell the cops who he was. He was like 16 or 17 years old. It was George Carlin. Mm-hmm. And like, that's crazy. Like, seeing that might have shaped Carlin to do what he did, which then shaped other people to do what they did. So it's amazing how comedy, almost similar to music, how small little things just trigger this path of like this explosion of all kinds, because you just never know who's going to be the next person to influence everyone else.
Yeah.
I wish it was me, but me. Holding my breath.
So, I'm really glad we got this topic with you, because that was really well done.
Yeah,
I think we covered that pretty well.
Because comedy is something that I've always been interested in. I've always thought about for like a long time. Never thought I'd do it. I was just always really interested in it. When Comedy Central did their 100 greatest stand-ups of all time, I made sure to have blank VHSs to record the whole thing and like watch it again and again, because I loved stand-up comedy.
Yeah, there's a lot of recent like documentary style things about the evolution and movement of comedy,
and
and
it's
how
crazy
it's formed.
how different comedy, like different styles, come from different areas a lot of times.
Yeah.
So like even that's more amazing. Or how comics start in the Midwest, they go to New York, or they go to LA, or they go to Boston. You can kind of see their styles get like altered by that kind of scene or where they are.
Yeah, there was this woman who did stand up close by, and she was great. She made fun of the fact that she had moved recently from like a southern area and had a New Jersey accent and all that other stuff. But I just got that wrap up sign. So I just wanted you to plug your social media, because we're all social media whores now. So.
That's true. Pete Angelo 13 at Twitter, Metal Pete 13 on Instagram, and Pete Angelo on Facebook.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for joining us on 1AM Comedy. This is Pete Angelo, the bisexual. Oh, what was the other one we got for you?
Metalhead.
No, it was Metalhead, but there was another one. Too fat to be on meth. There you go. He's too fat to be on meth. And that's
For now. I lost some weight recently, so that might get rid of it.
You might be getting to meth levels, yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.